What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unlocked. So thanks again. The podcast is growing. People are listening. So thank you. If you can take 2 seconds to share this with somebody you think, maybe somebody that's new at the office or whatever, maybe somebody you hate or somebody that quit, it'll help grow the channel. If you subscribe and all that stuff, it's growing. You can see this on Spotify and YouTube. It's soon going to be on Apple Music too. I want to talk about retention. And of course, in door-to-door, bugs versus features. Again, coming back from Alex and Alex Hormozi's little VAM, some workshop we went to. And Alex was kind of talking about bugs versus features. Sometimes people work so much on a bug, on something that is wrong with the business, but really it's a feature. So what I mean by that is when it comes to retention of salespeople, employees in a door-to-door world, in a cold call world, in a tough 100% commission selling world, people are going to quit. That people are going to no-show, and that's a feature. Now, should we use that to become complacent and kind of just rely on the national, worldwide averages of quitters? No. If somebody has a 30-day retention of 30% and somebody else has a 30-day retention of 10%, that's a big difference. And even though we're playing within the feature of the business, bug, a 20%, year over year or month over month could be massive. If you're looking at, for example, in our system, we hire 15-ish people per week per location. So that's 60 a month. 30% of that is 9, almost 10 people, really. That's a big number. That would be an extra 120 or 110 people per year. That would be skyrocket number one by far. So do not underestimate the power of retention or working on something that the business by default or nature is going to be difficult. So just a few things that there's not much mindset. People always, I had somebody recently ask what is a good topic on retention? I think the retention of employees goes higher or equals the time spent, the unrequired time spent with them. So if I meet with them only in the office or only in the field selling or only on the phone selling, that is required time. I'm supposed to do that. Employees know I'm going to spend time with them because I'm required. Even if I'm the owner, they know that I'm supposed to. There's something to my financial benefit that really helps me by being with them. Now, when I take them out on a Sunday to a baseball cage, because they love playing baseball, or I take them out grocery shopping because that's what they're doing on their day off, or I go to their church with them, or I figure out a way that I can introduce myself or I can introduce themselves into my life or myself into theirs. And those hours pile up. That is where retention goes from, 0 to staying to, almost, I think it translates into loyalty after a certain amount of hours, certain amount of weeks, months, years spent. So I wanted to talk about this because it all depends on how much you're doing and how much you care for people. I'm working with a different person in our organization that's probably coming back to retrain and kind of, get things going again. And, he was telling me, hey, I only do dinners with my employees maybe once a month, which means he was not doing really any dinners. And then there's, and of course, by default, everybody that he works with, he was telling me hey, Richard, everybody thinks that I want them to sell more for the business, kind of like for me. They don't really believe in me. And he doesn't spend any unrequired time or once a month with them. Now, there's other people that are spending every night, 5-6 nights a week. They're taking an hour, 2 hours every night from 7 o'clock to 9 or from 8 o'clock to 10, which is a big time investment. And they're creating this rhythm of spending time with people, getting to know their spouses, their parents. And people do still quit. But if you had to guess which one has a 30% retention, which one has a 10%, you can probably tell. So I do want to encourage anybody that's working on retention. It is no different than making a friend. And sometimes we come into business and we forget why or how we have friends. A lot of times the friends you have is people that you spend time with that is completely unrequired. Sometimes there's not even a plan. Think about how many times you've spent time with your best friend from high school or from your last job or your girlfriend or whatever, and there is nothing to do. You guys just kind of meet and that's it. And sometimes we're just sitting in the car doing nothing, or we're going to a mall and walking around, or we're just kind of eating food because it's time to eat food. But there was never a plan. There was not anything on the calendar. And friendship gets built by, hundreds of those meetings. So you can't cheat time and you can't cheat, wanting and caring for people. So if I want to build a culture, or if I want to just retain more employees, I need to find a way to spend more unrequired time with them, because it's there where they notice, you know what? Richard did not have to invite me to his house and meet his wife and his children. Or so-and-so didn't have to go to dinner with me. They could just be with their family. And that repeated over time creates a sense of friendship. The reason you're friends with your friends is because you like to spend time with them together with them, and you don't get paid for it. They don't get paid for it. It's just, again, it's something we enjoy. It's 100% your will, 100% your intention and your eagerness to do it. When you do that with an employee, it creates the same result, aka a relationship, aka we'll work together, aka I can have a bad check, I can have a bad paycheck, a bad week, I can have personal problems, things that normally would derail my career, maybe something that can get my mood a little more grouchy, or I can thread the needle into maybe a different career or move myself away. But if I have a relationship with you, because you happen to be my friend and also my boss, manager, supervisor, then I'm probably going to make a decision to stick it around with you because you're the person I go to anyways, no matter where I am. So I think it's simple. Retention. It is unnecessary time spent with people. And sorry, by unnecessary, a better word is unrequired. Unrequired time spent equals retention. So if you had a graph or you had a pick up, data on the people that retain their employees the most, how much time they spent with them, how often they show up to their weddings, to their children's birthday parties versus a person that does not have a high employee retention, I think you would find the biggest difference. Now, are there other things that I can do to retain people? Yes, and I want to briefly mention that because that's what really this recording's about. I can create a bonus. I can give people money quicker. All of these are things that can enhance the relationship but never solidify it or cement it, if that makes sense. I can create a bonus. I can also create a raffle, which is a form of a bonus. I could create a trip, which is a form of a bonus. I can give people incentives that are not relationship-based, not time-based, probably based on what are my resources and how much money I can spend. And I can help retention like that. I can even create I can emasculate, a problem if I can create a lot of that. And I think that's the problem for a lot of businesses after maybe their second year, third year. I think for all the businesses that are maybe, above maybe $5 million a year or $10 million a year in revenue, because they have enough money, sometimes they stop spending the time and they move into like raffles, bonuses, and money. And it becomes almost like if you have employees that are entitled to the bonuses you have or to just getting paid extra, or they're entitled to, get their dinner paid when they're with you, it's probably because we went away, we left the relationship unrequired time spent, and we transitioned more into like, I'm just going to purchase retention through money. I think they're both valid, but I think, of course, one of them creates different results than the other, and only one of those two leads to loyalty. So if you have employee retention questions, please send us a message, leave a comment below. If you want to talk about your specific situation, or you think that, or you find valuable maybe diving in, because I do believe that it does also, a big part of employee retention is, I would have to ask you 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7, 10 questions before I even can give you any advice, because it's very dependent on the individual, on the organization. There's nothing you can do spending time with people and having great relationships and having great retention if everybody's paychecks are terrible at the company and nobody makes any money. That would, of course, that would spike the survival rate of the employee. They can't stay at a place where they can't help their family survive. And all these things would apply, and of course would be different for each person, every individual. So again, if you want to help, you want to talk about it, please leave a comment below. Let us know, reach out to us, send us a message, and we'd love to talk to you about it. Outside of that, hopefully that helps, and we'll see you at the next one.